October 1492, the Caribbean Sea. The air is thick with the scent of salt and ancient wood. 3 ships cut through the glass-like water. They carry 90 men and billions of invisible passengers. A world exists that the men on the ships cannot imagine. It is not a wilderness, it is a garden, a continent-wide network of cities, canals, and empires. But within a single generation, this world will fall silent. 100 million people are about to vanish. They will not just leave, they will be erased from the memory of the Earth until the Earth itself begins to change. In our textbooks, we were taught a lie. We were told the Americas were an empty land, a pristine, untouched wilderness waiting for civilization to arrive. But the data tells a different story. A story of a demographic catastrophe so vast, it altered the chemistry of our atmosphere. In 1966, anthropologist Henry F. Dobbins challenged the empty land narrative. He analyzed the records of the first explorers and the ruins hidden beneath the jungle. His conclusion was a shock to the academic world. Before the first European foot touched the mainland, the Americas may have held up to 112 million people. That is more than the entire population of Europe at the time. Only on the untold pages of history do we find the scale of what was lost. But here is where the story takes a dark turn. The tragedy does not begin with the sword. It begins with the breath. Imagine a world with no immunity to the common cold, no memory of smallpox, no defense against the flu. The first wave hits the Caribbean islands like a physical wall. On the island of Hispaniola, the population collapses from millions to a few hundred in decades. But the invisible storm travels faster than the explorers. It moves along trade routes, jumping from village to village, reaching the heart of the Inca Empire before a single Spaniard ever sees the Andes. It leaves a continent in a state of total societal shock. By 1545, in central Mexico, the situation reached a breaking point. The streets of the Mixtec and Aztec cities were filled with the dying. The locals called it Cocolistli, the Great Pestilence. For centuries, it was a mystery. In 2018, the Max Planck Institute finally unlocked the code using ancient DNA. The killer was Salmonella enterica, a strain of enteric fever likely brought by European livestock. In just 5 years, this one outbreak killed 15 million people. 80% of the population of Mexico was gone. The cities were not conquered, they were vacated. The garden cities of the Amazon. Now, you might be wondering, if there were so many people, where are the cities? The answer lies beneath the trees. Recent LiDAR technology has stripped away the Amazonian canopy to reveal something staggering. Beneath the foliage lie thousands of miles of roads, plazas, and complex irrigation systems. They used terra preta, a human-engineered black earth, to turn the rainforest into an orchard the size of a subcontinent. The wilderness we see today is actually the overgrown ghost of a managed garden. The metropolis of the North. This vanishing act stretched all the way to the Mississippi River. In the 12th century, Cahokia was the center of a superpower, featuring earthen pyramids larger than the bases of the Great Pyramids of Egypt. National Geographic records show that at its peak, Cahokia was larger than London or Paris. When later settlers arrived, they saw these massive mounds and refused to believe they were built by the indigenous inhabitants, attributing them instead to Vikings or Romans. They couldn't accept that they were standing on the ruins of a fallen civilization. The Orbis Spike. But how do we prove 100 million people died if the records were destroyed? This is the most profound revelation in the untold pages of history. We look at the sky. A 2019 study by University College London analyzed Antarctic ice cores and found a sudden, massive drop in atmospheric carbon dioxide around the year 1610. They call it the Orbis spike. Why did the CO2 drop? Because 56 million people had stopped farming. As the people vanished, billions of trees reclaimed the fields, sucking enough carbon out of the air to cool the entire planet. When you lose 95% of a population, you don't just lose people. You lose the engineers, the poets, and the grandmothers who knew the medicine. The survivors were forced into a post-apocalyptic struggle for survival. When later settlers saw them, they didn't see primitive wanderers. They saw the traumatized refugees of a fallen high-tech civilization. The New World was not new. It was ancient. The people did not just vanish. They were the victims of the greatest biological disaster in human history. We walk on their roads every day. We eat the crops they spent 10,000 years domesticating: corn, potatoes, and chocolate. History is not just what is written. It is what we choose to remember. And the 100 million are still there, waiting to be read in the untold pages of history.